The press briefing is about the ongoing enforcement operation in the three open drug markets of Ariara and the Zuku market in Aba, the Beachhead market in Onitsha, that is made up of Ogoku market, plumbing market, plants market, surgical market, and science market, all in Onitsha. And the third one is the Idumota drug market in Lagos. The operation is part of Nafdac's National Action Plan 2.0, 2023 to 2027, to mitigate substandard and falsified medicines and protect public health. It is geared towards strengthening the regulatory framework as well as increase consumer confidence in the medical products that are consumed. It is also a means of protecting trade by removal of counterfeited products and making the counterfeiters answerable legally and through sanctions, with the ultimate goal of protecting trade and the citizenry. The operation is an outcome of the strategic partnership that Nafdac has made and which is part of the National Action Plan 2.0. The planning of the highly confidential operation started in 2024 with a strong collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor, ONSA. The simultaneous exercise started on the 9th of February 2025 by coloning of the three markets with 1,100 security forces comprising the military, the police, and the DSS personnel. The screening of the shops commenced the following day on 10th February 2025. The exercise was planned originally for 1 week with 350 security forces in Lagos, 400 forces in Onitsha, and 350 forces in Aba with their accompanying vehicles and equipment. This large number of security personnel were deployed because of the perceived volatility of these locations and to control any violence or resistance that may arise during the exercise. The NSA duly informed the respective governors to ensure a buy-in. However, the exercise had to be extended by additional 2 to 3 weeks in each of these locations because it was underestimated during the planning phase. The teams in each of these locations commenced by holding a meeting with the members of the executives of the market union in each of these markets on the need to cooperate with enforcement officers from Nafdac and Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, our sister agency that is also in charge of site license and practitioner license. The modus operandi and the protocols for the screening was communicated to the market executives. Part of the protocol is that any shop screened will be sealed with Nafdac hold label and padlocked wherever there is offending product or non-Nafdac regulated product. The executives were also directed to inform the owners to be available to open their shops when the enforcement team arrives at the location of their shops. The executives, market executives, in addition, constituted themselves into teams to work with Nafdac and PCN teams to witness and record the activities in each shop or packing store or warehouse. Any premise that the owner did not show up to open the shop or the packing shop was forced open in the presence of the market executives. In such cases, there were video recordings. The offending products were put on an inventory, and letters of invitation which were signed and collected by the union executive for the shop owner for further investigation were thereafter issued. The Office of the National Security Advisor played the most significant or vital role in this collaboration by coordinating the military, police, and DSS to participate and to provide security for the operation, while Nafdac planned with the security agencies on the closure of the markets. The simultaneous and coordinated closure of the 3 markets is considered the largest operation carried out by Nafdac in the history of the agency. And it is to ensure full control of the enforcement operation and to prevent concealment and escape of any product from any open drug market to the other. Nafdac deployed human and material resources to achieve the success recorded during the operation. Nafdac staff in other locations were deployed to the 3 markets to screen all shops and or premises, because usually we do not have enough staff, so we have to take staff from different zones to Onitsha and Aba. All the shops in the market were screened by Nafdac officials, and all suspected substandard and falsified medical products were put on inventory and removed from the premises to our secured warehouses. During this exercise, Nafdac succeeded in removing from circulation 87 truckloads of banned, expired, unregistered, suspected falsified substandard medical products from the 3 markets. Right now, we have screened over 7,000 shops, and it's still ongoing as of today. A database of these shops and the offences committed has been created for further steps. More than 40 arrests have been made, which will be followed by prosecution. The screening of shops ended on Tuesday this week, February 25, in Idumota and Aba. For the remaining period of the exercise, shops that have non-violative or non-Nafdac regulated products are being reopened, while owners of such shops are being asked to sign undertakings that they agree to relocate to designated, coordinated wholesale sector once such sector is completed. Meanwhile, the operation continues in Onitsha. We are about 50% done in Onitsha, Head Beach. So it will be until next week, when similar process of opening the shops to non-violative shop owners and charging the violative ones accordingly will commence. Some of the products that we have confiscated are large quantities of pharmaceutical products, including vaccines, prescription-only medicines, and so on. These products were discovered stacked in toilets, under staircase, and rooftop at very high temperatures, without consideration for cold chain storage requirements. Oxytocin injection, which is a drug that is used to make sure that a woman that is delivering a baby will be done safely. So oxytocin injection and several thermolabile products or products that are susceptible to heat that were stored under extremely hot temperatures enough to denature such pharmaceuticals were found. The problem is not only about the originality of the product but about the environment and storage. Products recommended to be stored at -8 degrees, -2 to 8 degrees centigrade were found in this hot environment. Large quantities of controlled drugs such as Peddl, recently banned in India after BBC undercover exposure of the company manufacturing and exporting various illicit drugs to Africa, including Nigeria, were found. This drug combination has not been licensed anywhere in the world and outrightly banned for use in the European Union. Tramadol, flunitrazepam or rofinol, nitrazepam, and diazepam that have been fueling insecurity in the country were found in all the markets. The volume of narcotics and controlled substances seized from each of these locations are enough to destabilize the country security-wise. Large quantities of donated antiretroviral drugs, expired female and male condoms by USAID, UNFPA were also found. Huge quantities of banned, unregistered, expired products found in the plumbing and wood plank section of the Peddl bridge in Onitsha. Warehouses filled to the brim with such drugs listed above without windows, and where temperature could be as high as 40 degrees centigrade, a high potential for chemical degradation of the products into less effective and toxic degradants were also found. What is the way forward? After the operation, Nafdac and Pharmacy Council of Nigeria (PCN) planned the relocation of these markets within the next 1 year to the planned coordinated wholesale center in the different cities. There will be 6 of such CWCs across the country, but right now we have 4. One in Kano, which is already completed, and we forcefully relocated the Open Marketers in Kano to the Kanawa Coordinated Wholesale Center in Kano. The other 3 will be in Idumota or in Lagos, Aba, and Onitsha. The current premises occupied by medicine dealers are unregistered and unregistrable. This falls short of the minimal standards for storage, sales, and distribution of drug products. The 6 consignments of banned, expired, unregistered, substandard falsified medical products will be destroyed simultaneously, publicly, in each of these locations after the exercise. With the signing into law the Proceeds of Crime Act (POCA) for forfeiture of assets, the assets recovered from suspects will be treated as proceeds of crime after their conviction by the courts. We use this opportunity to call on the National Assembly to expedite the amendment of the Nafdac Act N1-NFN 2004 and the Counterfeit and Fake Drugs and Unwholesome Processed Food C-34 Act to include life sentence and death penalty in the penalties for crimes committed under these acts. This exercise that we are doing is purely an enforcement operation to protect the public and rid our country of falsified and substandard medical products. Thank you very much. It's very, very plain. We are not against trade. There is no country that has open market like Nigeria in the world. We have the largest open market in the world, where anybody can get any drug at any time. And as part of our own strengthening of regulatory system, what we are doing now is just one aspect of our regulatory strengthening. We are expected to have what is called market control. We started a journey of comparing ourselves with the best regulatory agencies in the world, what is called WHO Global Benchmarking. And for that global benchmarking tools, there are 9 modules. One of them is market control, meaning the products that are coming into your country, you are able to track them through the product life cycle. You are in control of where they are. Why is that so important? It is important because of the life of our people first, because of trade. When we started the journey of global benchmarking, we were -1 in the ranking of 1 to 4. That was 2018. Now we are maturity level 3. There's what is also called WHO listed authority, meaning regulatory authorities that the world can really depend on. For us to get that, we have to show that we have market control of whatever we are doing. Market control is constituted, is made up of another 4 modules in our 9-module benchmarking. It is made up of regulatory inspection. It is made up of enforcement. It is made up of post-marketing surveillance. It is made up of laboratory services. It is made up of pharmacovigilance. So it is market control, but it comprises so many other modules. And we will not get to WHO listed authority with our maturity level 3 unless we have market control. Why is WHO listed authority so important? It is because of our manufacturing, local manufacturers especially. If we have that, any product we approve can be traded globally. That is decrease in unemployment, increase in our GDP. Those are peripherals. The first thing is confidence in the consumer in terms of the products that we take or we use in the country. Public health and trade, decrease in unemployment. So it is extremely important. So we are not taking just this enforcement as a show. No. It is a component that is ingrained in our future in terms of playing in the global arena for trade. Very important. And to talk of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, the executive order that he pronounced last year in terms of local manufacturing. If we don't do what we are doing, we'll just be manufacturing for ourselves. That doesn't translate to improving our economy. So this is part and parcel of what President Tinubu had in mind when he had the executive order. So the political pressure is there, but the governors have been able to convey to their constituents that this is temporary and they are ready to build coordinated wholesale center or do a PPP partnership to build coordinated wholesale center where we can monitor what is going on. with the Kano Coordinated Road Safety Center has our office there. It has PCN office. It has a police station. And we go there routinely to check what they are selling. It's like 3 floors, 2 floors, and then the ground floor of a mall. So that is why I said I've been fortunate to have cerebral governors. In terms of shutting down trade, we are not shutting down trade at all. It is that we have to do this enforcement. Many people are dying. Many people have died. A senator met me and said, DG, what Nafdac is doing is great. That he has hypertension. And he has a prescription of amlodipine, 10 milligram twice a day. That his blood pressure never went down. And he traveled and got prescription from outside. Instead of 10 milligram twice a day, he now uses 10 milligram once a day. And the blood pressure has gone down. This is us. So it's not about doing something against trade. It's about making sure we live quality life. We don't die before our time. The senator said that 3 of his brothers have died as a result of hypertension. Millions might have died. We don't have statistics. Now let's talk of children. In the Coordinated Wholesale Center, that is why we are doing what we are doing. We are not against trade. We have special office created about 5 years ago in Nafdac, 4 or 5 years ago, Office of Trade and International Relations. We foster trade. We have brought more than $2 billion of trade into Nigeria because we started 5+5. You have been importing forever. In 2019, March, we started 5+5. 5 years that we have been giving you every year, we will give you extra 5 years. Within those 5 years, you have to migrate to local manufacturing or partner with a local manufacturer in form of contract manufacturing. Now we have about 34 new companies in Nigeria and 66 that we have given approval to that are in process of reconstruction or having new addition to their previous facilities. So we have brought trade into the country, investment into the country because our emphasis is on local manufacturing. We cannot be depending on import every time. Pandemic taught us a lesson. Changing government in the US is teaching us a lesson. We've got to wake up and know that this is not about fighting against trade. It is about protecting life. And that we are actually for trade. Thank you very much.
Second part of question. Thank you very much.
I will start with your question about whistle blowing. We have informants in the community. We don't have enough. But we don't have a structured whistleblower within the agency. Actually, we do. Yes, freedom of information. Yes, we are part and parcel of that, even within the agency. But in terms of enforcement, we have informants. And our own enforcement directorate has been given a la carte allocation in terms of how to use the money when informants would want to tell them something. 3 years ago, we got an information about the plumbing section of the Onitsha bridgehead. We have a squad of police because Nafdac is also the center, the head of a federal task force. So we have a squad of police. Some of them went with us to Onitsha bridgehead they narrowly missed death. With police, about 6 months ago, a team of our inspectors went to the market and they beat them. One was bleeding so profusely. So, in terms of whistleblowing, yes, it comes with a lot of risks. And that is part of what many people don't understand about our work. We don't have 9 to 5 business schedule in terms of work. It can extend to 10. The inspector at the port can call me at 12:30 a.m., 1 a.m. We are at the port. We are trying to track a vehicle that is trying to fly out. People don't understand the threats that we face. But with the whistleblowing also comes a lot of risks. But to answer your question, yes, we have whistleblowers. We have informants. Within our own agency, we've signed the Freedom of Information Act. Anybody can say anything, if they have evidence. In terms of foreign inspection and corruption, when I got to Nafdac in 2017, we had 3.2 billion naira debt. We had 500 million naira that was spent 2 months, before my resumption, between September or October and November. 500 million, it wasn't spent on capital. Because when I came, I said, did you build a house or building that you spend 500 million in 2 months? So it's about 3.7 billion naira debt when naira was still very strong. There was corruption. An executive came to my office for courtesy visit. This was 2017, so gentlemen of the press, so please let's put it in perspective. And said, your staff, when they go for inspection, sometimes they don't even go there. That they will stay in Dubai and shop. Bear in mind, we had 3.7 billion naira debt. About 700 million were for staff travel. 1.6 million were taxes and VAT that we didn't pay to the government. What am I saying? It is that the corruption was there. Because the head allegedly was also corrupt. And some of the staff said, when the head is doing it, why can't we do it? I'm sorry to say, that was why when I knew that my work has been cut up for me, we started quality management system, where you think of the customer. Whether you are an accountant, you are a human resource person, you are in the lab, you are an inspector, it doesn't matter. Think of the customer. Quality management system is a change of mindset. We went through that training for a year and a half. ISO 9001. We got certified June of 2019. But that was the beginning of our training. Since that time, we have been recertified every year because now we self-audit ourselves in preparation for the next certification. So Nafdac is no longer Nafdac of 7 years ago or 8 years ago. Because until you start thinking quality, you don't link the gratification to somebody's life, to the death of a child. Nafdac is no longer what it used to be. We are not there yet because change of mindset takes a lot, But we also have
trainings for our staff. We had agency-wide training on leadership and anti-corruption that was led by an ex-director retired from EFCC. Trained all our staff. A process, part of the process of changing mindset. Nafdac is a microcosm of Nigeria. So whatever we are seeing in the global picture in Nigeria, microcosm is also, of it is in Nafdac. I put a stop to foreign inspection for 1 year. First of all, we have to pay our debt because we were bankrupt. I put a stop. There were 700 inspections in 2017 alone. So when they told me that, sometimes they don't get there and whatnot, we brought this on ourselves. The country brought what we are seeing now on herself. Because patent medicine dealers are almost in millions, maybe hundreds of thousands. They are part and parcel of substandard falsified medicine because they don't know what medicine is. And then sometimes even the professionals become accomplices to these patent medicine dealers. That is why with our own global benchmarking, WHO is not benchmarking us alone. They are benchmarking us with PCN that is supposed to site license the place and the practitioner. So we are working hand in hand with PCN to improve on our regulatory practices. So the corruption has decreased. It may still be there, but if I hear about it, you are gone. We have dismissed some of our staff because you cannot be a corrupt agency and not lose lives. Lives will be lost. There's no way that lives will not be lost. I hope I answered the question. In terms of challenges, of course, I've mentioned the hazards that we face every day. I told you about the attempted murder about 6 months ago. One of our staff in Kano, the child was kidnapped because the father was doing what he's supposed to do. Fortunately, the child escaped. So, for me, I have 2 police living in my house 24/7 in Abuja and Lagos. I would say I don't have life. I cannot go anywhere without police. To me, that is not my way of living. But I don't have a choice because we've got to save our country. We've got to save our country and not be fearful. But nonetheless, precautions are taken. I also use common sense. In terms of what my brother from ITV mentioned in pre-operational legal framework, we are guided by our act. The C-34 Act gives us the mandate to enter anywhere that we suspect medicines or food being falsified. We have that backing by the law. Does that mean that we are not concerned about being sued? We are concerned. We have a legal directorate. And we have SAN in our database that will stand for us. That is part of the reason why we have to do things in a very methodical way. We have to think through things. This operation, we have, I don't know how many hours, What if this happens and that happens? What are the implications? But like I mentioned, we did not just go and start breaking shops. The union marketers, the union of the head of union of the market are always there. And we ask all marketers to come. Some came. The ones that didn't come, in the presence of the union leaders, we forced open because we have the mandate. C-34 gives us the mandate to do that. Reopening of Onitsha Bridgehead. If it's left for me, it will have been, reopened the first day. But it's not me. I love trade. But when you have tramadol stacked, tramadol that can alter the mind of anybody, bandits, and and even a child trying to kill his own parents, because the mind has been altered. When you have tapentadol, a young person will take it, or whoever takes it, and they will become stiff. They will not be able to feel anything for hours. They will just stay there. That was the one that was banned. Oh, sorry, please. USAID. Sorry. I'm sorry, yes. Sorry, yes. Unfortunately, people from the US are not the ones that are trafficking on donated product. It is our people. It is our people in the warehouses or wherever. I don't know how they do it. Somebody went to Wuse and found bed net being sold with USAID there. So this one is because of our own people. But the deterrent has to be there. The deterrent has to be there. That's why we need to work with our legislative arm to ensure that the deterrent is stiff, so that people will think in terms of falsification, diversion, infiltration, or whatever, of what is not supposed to be outside. How they got there, I don't know, but we have seen that happening. It's unfortunate that it has happened. Business Day, amendment and relevance, yes, to what is happening. I said it takes a village to raise a child. It takes executive, legislative, judiciary to make this happen. If somebody, not if, there was a case of somebody trafficking in tramadol and they sentenced the person to 5 years or 250,000 naira. What is that? So the legislative has to come alongside with us. Customs have to come alongside, not with us. All of us working together, because the life of our people matter. So the amendment is going to be very, very relevant in terms of moving forward. I hope I answered the question, sir. Provision in the amendment? Yes. Sentencing. I mentioned that in my speech. Life life imprisonment, death penalty, poker, proceeds of crime. You are operating in a big house. That house will be sold, and the money will go to the government. That is, those are the deterrents that are in place, or that we want to strengthen. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Actually, it showed up in the World Bank report that it takes a long time for our products to be approved. When I got to Nafdac, the time to approval is 120 days. 120 days. Yes. Working days. Yes, sir. And I said, who put this there? It's not real. But At that point, we weren't using international standards. There's what is called common technical document. It's like a Bible that has many chapters, from administrative to laboratory to, We were supposed to have been using it since 2012. Nafdac didn't use it. So, people would, the DG or whoever would just sign. Approved. Maybe, I don't know, under the table type of thing, So I knew that it wasn't real, 120 days. Why? When I got to Nafdac, 70 to 80% of our laboratory equipment were not working. So how are they testing? That's why it is fast. We also compare ourselves with regulatory authorities in Africa. We are subject to the same, so similar pressures. Shortage of staff, sometimes, epileptic, electricity, internet challenges, and so on. With the 5 countries that have ML3 like us, it's 240 days. Why? Because in our own registration directorate, we have about 40 people that do dossier review. Maybe not even 40, 30 something. In the whole of that directorate, there are about 70. In FDA, US FDA, they have 1,000 staff, Office of Generic Products. 1,000 staff, not Office of Ethical Products, generic. 1,000 staff compared to 70 that we have. It takes, now we started using CTD, Common Technical Document, 2018 or so. It's huge. It can have about 700 pages. So that is part of why it is slow. But, and I will bring a personal discussion that I had with my director of registration. We are inducting, as we speak, inducting new dossier reviewers. Dossier is the package that they submit. And we're going to now they will bring everybody together and for 2 weeks and do a concentrated reviews of the dossier. And they sent me a budget. I said, what am I getting for this? What am I getting for this? And I read the World Bank report to the director. This was 2-3 days ago. She has already discussed this with me at length, but I read it again. Our process is like letter L. That horizontal line is the dossier review pipeline. You submit, and then the review starts. And it is all science-based. And then the longitudinal one, the vertical, is when it goes into our e-registration pipeline. After we have done the L part, the horizontal part, the dossier review, and it goes to that vertical pipeline towards approval, we will inform manufacturers, market authorization holders. Many of them will not pick up, especially since the last 3 years. Because after the dossier review is good manufacturing practice inspection. It's laboratory. For good manufacturing practice inspection, since 2018-19, I believe, we started charging $10,500 because most of them are foreign. And you have to use 2 people. One of the cabinet members sometimes told me, said, why couldn't you use 1? We cannot use 1 for inspection because it's our word against their own word in that company. And we calculated 10,500 to the nearest dollar. 2 people, flight, before the pandemic. Accommodation, in-country flight, visa application. We summed for 2 people, 10,500. It's now about 18 million or 17 million, whatever. We have already approved the dossier now to get into the vertical line. They will not, because they don't have money. These last 3 years have been horrible for our manufacturers. Why so? Because the only thing they do not import is water. That is why the executive order is so apt, because custom duty levies and so on have been removed. We don't make anything, and then we charge high levies, high custom duties. They are so stretched. It is so difficult for them. They will not pick up. I will say, call them. Call them. Don't depend on just email. They will call. Somebody, they will stand somebody to call them. They will not pick up. Oh, we are waiting for power of attorney. It's all excuse. Because we've had power of attorney requirement before. We had power COPP, certificate of pharmaceutical product, that they need to produce before. But times are tough. That is one factor. They are it's multifactorial. But staff, we don't have enough staff. We have 2,000 staff. And I met 2,200 staff when I joined in, when I came to Nafdac. We have recruited about 170, 150, 300 and something. People are jackpotting. So that is part of, that is part of the problem. That doesn't mean we are doing everything perfect, but those are significant issues.